When I think about my childhood and I think about it from the stance of what the world looks at, I had a great childhood. Looking back on it from a Christian's perspective now, I realized that we were lacking in spiritual guidance. Faith was not the main focus in our home. My parents were both very hard workers. They each were entrepreneurs and had their own businesses. My dad came over from Germany when he was 6 years old. His parents worked really hard and tried to make a living, and so he did the same thing. And I didn't really know it at the time, but that's what I was doing too. I was moving in that direction. I met Heidi, my wife, at Coe College our sophomore year. She has always been very rooted and strong in her faith. Started going to church with her. That forced me to sit down and think about where life was headed and to understand the gospel, and I decided to get baptized. It was a big step for me in my faith journey. For whatever reason, probably to impress my father, I went in the direction of becoming a doctor. And as soon as we left school, Heidi and I got married and we had our first daughter. I knew that I didn't want to go and pursue something that was going to take me out of the house for 17 hours a day. So I started working at Pella Corporation and I was a manager there. In my second year there, I remember where I was at. The phone rang and I picked it up and it was my dad. And he said, "Tony, I've got some bad news. We found out that I have stage 4 colon cancer and the doctor has given me 6 months to live." I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but I just knew he didn't have someone else in his business to come and help during that time. Coming back and working with him, just trying to keep his business afloat, I started to experience what it was to work with insurances and investments. I was much more attracted to the planning and having those deep conversations. So it was easy for me to move in the direction of financial planning because it was just a natural thing for me. I enjoy meeting people, getting to know them, and then really having an impact and helping them find ways to enrich their lives. I never expected to be in this industry. I had no background in this industry. In the beginning, I felt like, oh man, you are not cut out for sales. The good thing is I've never had to feel like I'm selling. I really realized that if I could listen to them and really understand what it was that was important to them, I could align what was important to them with financial planning tools. Then it was more about education. How can I educate you and you can make your own mind up? And I think that's worked really well over the last 25 years. When my father passed away, it was in around 2000, 2001. The house that they built when I was 4 years old was built for size. It's nothing fancy, but it was out in the country and the legacy was there. So when my wife and I moved out there, my business was going well, and I really wasn't thinking about how much things cost. I was in this mode of kind of what was important was status and having money and possessions. I think as I look back on it now, I was more or less just saying, this needs to be done, that needs to be done, and going deeper and deeper into debt in order to accomplish it. $247,000 and some odd dollars in just credit card debt, and another $350,000 of unsecured debt. And so really, we fell into that place of being slave to our lenders. And we were at the point where we couldn't move debt around anymore. Slowly, we were able to deal with the debt. We did the debt snowball, where you pay off one debt, you take that money and you put it towards the next debt. And so in 2013, we were able to pay it off. I hadn't thought about how it was affecting my family. My wife had mentioned recently that she remembers the day when she went to the grocery store with all the kids and she went to pay for those groceries and the card was rejected. I look back now and I realize what those things did, what those bad decisions did. But one good thing did come out of that. We talked with our children, explained to them bad choices that had been made, and talked with them and explained to them financial situations and how we were doing. I think that was a real blessing from God. All my children understand debt and the dangers of it, and it's going to be a blessing for them in their homes too. God taught me that I was misinformed about what made life joyful and peaceful. When we found ourselves, in the place we couldn't move around debt anymore, I had a nice car that I had leased, and that lease was up. And so we had to return the car. We didn't have any money to buy another car. I went to a neighbor who had an extra truck. It was a 1984 Chevy, rusty, and I remember driving down the road one day, and instead of what I was doing before, which was focused on what I didn't have, I was in that moment thankful for what I did have. I was content. I understood that having all the bright and shiniest things wasn't bringing me the joy that I was looking for. There's many things that God taught me, but that was one of the first things that I remember being in the heat of it all, where I was able just to switch my mind and feel so much peace and joy that my friend had a vehicle that I could drive. And that had a big impact on me. I meet with many people who are in that situation, maybe not as bad as what I was, but they don't have hope. And to be able to sit and talk with them and help them see that there is hope and that God can do anything and that they can do what they need to do in order to get out of the situation they're in. Those conversations are probably more impactful on me than anything else. I am so thankful for the wisdom to look at my situation through a biblical lens. Looking at it through a biblical lens allows me to just be so much more thankful for all the little blessings. So that's the number one thing that I'm most thankful for, is the entire shift on how I look at my life and how I look at our business and how I look at my impact on the people around me and the people that I get a chance to serve.